Hello, today is Tuesday, October 17th, 2017. I'm Sharon Hagading, and I'm here to share with you another ray of light. I'm coming to you from Acres for Art and Enlightenment, home of AwakeningLight.net and Red Dog Creations Art Studio. So, it's been quite a journey since the full moon that began almost 2 weeks ago. The new moon is this coming Thursday, and boy, am I happy for that. It's interesting. Again, I've routinely mentioned the phases of the moon, specifically the full moon and the new moon, and seeking to live in alignment, if you will, or in attunement with what's going on with the moon. And as those of you who've listened to my posts have learned, I had quite an experience with my full moon, and I let it all hang out. I said, get rid of everything that I need to get rid of. Everything. Little did I know what this would entail. It's been physical, it's been emotional, it's been spiritual, it's been mental, it's been so many things, which is part of the reason I've needed to lay low. And I've certainly popped in from time to time with a Facebook Live, but I do appreciate those of you who have understood my need to be very private and be with myself, have the time with myself as I went through this release process. And when you take a look at the center card here, it is the Eight of Cups. And it's so interesting as I took a look at this, right? So a lot of it is, okay, let's dump out that which no longer is important to have, and that which perhaps served. So mountains, let's look at actually potentially, it's actually the thing that I saw second in this card, but the mountains. The mountains that have been presented in my life, and those especially during the past close to 2 weeks, have been addressed. They have been addressed, either full on, or, you know what, that's just a molehill. Get around it, don't twist your ankle while you're doing it. Who the hell cares if it's popping up daisies, if the moles are eating the roots of your plants? You know what? They deserve to live. And let them live, don't kill them. Let them do their thing and live in harmony with these moles. Rather than poisoning them, thinking that they're vile, etc., they were here first, and we've developed around them. So there were certainly some mountains that I've addressed within the past year and a half, going on 2 years now, and all of it began back almost 5 years ago. But most definitely it's been accelerating since the beginning of 2017. And even when you look into mid-2016, at least for me personally, and I suspect many of you may be on a similar course, perhaps likely with very different situations, but things have been accelerating and encouraging us to get rid of that, whether it's stuff in our lives. Why are we accumulating so much stuff, right? Because we've been conditioned to. So as I looked at this, it's like, okay, so there's those mountains. You know what? I've dealt with those mountains. And I've learned to understand and how to work with my team. And my team includes me, by the way. Thank you so much, Terry, for reminding me of that a week ago. Because I was resisting, right? I was like, oh, the whole thing about let go, let God. Guess what? You're part of that. And part of my resistance was, well, but if I give it over to my team, I'm not... And I was reminded, hey, honey, you're part of your team. So when you listen. And that was why it was so funny. It's like, well, yeah, but what about this? So addressed, and understanding the process with which to address, or how to address mountains, and understanding, is it a mountain, or is it really a molehill, or maybe it's just a little bitty ant hill, right? And then the other part is the vessels, the very obvious broken cups here. And it reminded me that as I've been releasing things, not only did I empty the contents of these cups, but I smashed those sons of a gun. So no longer will they be filled with whatever it was that I thought I needed to fill the cups with. Bad grammar there, but anyhow, so smashed them. The mountains have been addressed and taught me lessons on how to deal with perceived mountains, real or perceived mountains in the future. The cups emptied, smashed, no longer carrying the weight that was holding me down. Whatever that meant, right? We all have different things. I know what many of mine are, and others did not need to be brought to the surface, but they have been addressed as part of this because they were similar in nature. And then it's interesting as I flow around this card deck. So I keep looking over in this direction because they're sitting on my desk over here, but you're seeing them on this side. So that's why I keep going back and forth, and you all know that anyhow. The Empress card is going back to nature. So some of you are like, well, now where are you going? Well, I needed a break. Things had hit a point where it's like, oh my goodness, I've done as much as I can do here, but I need to go see the ocean. I needed some ocean therapy. So I grabbed Mighty Maya. She was bored with me. So we went to the ocean, and the beautiful power of the ocean. And so as I look at these cards, so much is the Empress and nature and how nature is calling us. And when we're connected to nature, when we're connected to the earth magic, the earth energy, the power and the beauty of the earth, of Pachamama, of Gaia, whatever we want to call her, we have to connect to her. We must protect her. And it was interesting that while I was observing the sunrise yesterday morning at the ocean with Mighty Maya, what we came upon so far off, so much on the beach, not only the cute little birds that were going back and forth and they were getting the little crabs that were coming in, but what I noticed were the mounds of kelp that had been vomited out, been purged out, had been discarded by the ocean. And it took me a while walking past these piles and observing, wow, look at all these mounds of dead kelp, things entangled in the dead kelp. Fortunately, there's not a lot of garbage that was washed ashore in Cayugos, and I probably slaughtered the name, but close enough. But what came to me is that just like the ocean, we must go through a routine purging, casting off so that it doesn't accumulate, so it doesn't overwhelm us. And so that became a very amazing visual for me yesterday of that casting off. And the other thing that was so fun was this part of the California coastline is loaded with harbor seals, sea otters, who are just delightful little creatures. So I saw the harbor seals, the sea otters. I could hear sea lions in the distance, and perhaps there will be an opportunity to go back and see some of the whales that will be migrating along the shoreline, as well as monarch butterflies are in that whole area. So depending on timing of everything, on my travel schedule and such, if I'm around, I intend to go back that way, take the sow back there. But as I look at these cards today, it is you know what, you've done the work. You've done the work. It's been very simple in some cases, very painful on whatever level in other cases, but you've done the work. You've done the work. You've maintained vigilance. You've like that Daughter of Pentacles at the top is, it's not been easy, but you put your head down. She actually doesn't have her head down. She's actually got it with the rainbow, even though she's reversed, but she's done the work. And there are times when you need to step forward, like the Empress. And there are times when you need to work from the background because, you know, there's bookkeeping that needs to be done. There is correspondence that needs to be handled. There are any number of things that need to be handled, and I'm just touching on a few of them. And then you also know when to be quiet, to be discreet, to maintain confidence, maintain vigilance. like our Seven of Swords on the Western horizon. And every time I see this card, it reminds me of my little Mighty Maya, because for whatever reason, she thinks she needs to be ferocious in protection. But knowing when it's time to just hunker down, keep your own counsel or a limited counsel, and do what you need to do. And what's so very exciting is, as I've smashed things, as I've worked through what's going on with this tarot spread, it's very interesting. And as I look at the bottom is, okay, you've done the work. And guess what? Again, Thursday is our new moon. New moon is when you're bringing this to you. So by getting rid of all that garbage, casting it aside after having properly dealt with it. Sometimes it needs to be hit head on. Sometimes it's just, you know what, it's not even worth dealing with. It's just noise, right? So when you do that, you clear the pathway. So these 10 of Pentacles is, all right, now let's draw things to us that really fit, that help us move forward. Thank you for taking the time to watch. I send you blessings, love, and light as you go about your day today.